That's what Nickelodeon and Disney Channel was really. Nickelodeon
Poppin'.
and Disney Channel.
Poppin'. For sure, we on? We're good? All right, cool.
Ready, y'all?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, Nickelodeon was popping hard as hell at that time.
Nickelodeon, bro. What was you watching, though? What was
Shit.
you watching? Because iCarly, we got Victorious, we got Drake and Josh.
I was really watching Invaders In.
Bro, I used to watch Invaders. You know what show I used to watch that was a sleeper?
What? What's a sleeper?
Naked Brothers Band.
Oh, yeah.
People wasn't watching the Naked Brothers Band.
Yeah, that was a classic.
Yeah, I must have slept. I was fast asleep.
Damn. You took me back after school. It was 4:30.
Bro, what?
No, for real, that was my routine.
Bro.
After school, you used to go home and watch The End because you had Fresh Prince and Moesha coming on right after.
Nah, for real. Look, I tell people like, bro, we was running to the TV when our shows was coming on. Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, we running to the TV with our snacks. We in front of the TV ready.
Hey, on Friday at 7:00. You watching your Disney movie?
Oh my
you
God.
waiting for this shit right
Oh
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Miley Cyrus, and this is Disney Channel. What?
You knew it was gonna be up and stuck.
And they started doing that trampoline thing. You was in. They jumping.
What was your movie?
My movie. I ain't gonna cap. I don't know if y'all remember. I don't know. I think it's like something about 16 something, but it was like a mermaid movie. Like the guy turned into a mermaid. His mama was a mermaid.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? That was crazy.
God,
that was crazy. Cheetah Girls all day.
I can see that.
Cheetah, all three of them. Bro, what other Disney movies, man?
Luck of the Irish was
Luck of the Irish.
Luck of the Irish is crazy.
Yeah.
Look at the Irish is crazy.
Look out.
It was another one too. It was a magic movie. It was something about magic, bro.
What's the movie with
Twitches?
With
Nah,
Twitches?
not Twitches. It was another, bro. It was this nigga was cold, like it was a real magician. He was trying to be a magician. They went to like magician's camp or some shit like that, and they was going. It was suspenseful movie.
Was it Sky High?
Nah, see, I'm gonna get the name of that.
I was about to say Phil of the Future or some shit.
Phil of the Future was fire. I'm thinking about that too.
It's a love Phil of the Future.
Hey man, look, y'all. My name is Don like the morning sun.
Yeah, it's your boy Dre.
Yeah. Hey, and this is Now That's Heavy podcast, y'all. From love to culture to topics no one wants to talk about, we're gonna talk about the heavy conversations right here. And we got a special guest, bro. We got a real special guest, dear to my heart. All right. So let me do this because it's really hard to bring him in because he got a lot of stuff on his resume. So let me just give you a little taste because we're finna dive in, right? All right, boom. So he's a 3-time Emmy-nominated poet, actor, philanthropist, activist, and an educator. Okay, 2-time published author. You can find his books on Amazon and TikTok Shop. That's crazy, right? All right, and he's one of the most talented people I know. Got so much vision, got so much light. He's my dear friend, and he's the worrisome wordsmith. Give it up for Black Caesar, y'all. If we had claps, with you know what I'm saying?
Dang.
Hey.
I appreciate that. That was that Shannon Sharp. That Shannon Sharp
Why
intro.
are you in my
know
head?
what
Because I seen Shannon do it, and I said, I'm going to do that. But time
It should be long, too.
But like you got to do that, though. Like, you got to let them know, like, who you brought to the table. You know what I'm saying? We ain't just bringing no nobodies. You know what I'm saying? He's somebody.
You know what's crazy? My first interaction with Ceasar wasn't even yesterday.
When was it?
Somebody mistaken me for Ceasar.
Is it the beer or something?
So check it out. So this is when I went to your first poetry thing at Orange Moon.
Orange Moon.
And I was chilling in the cut because Six, he was the one performing, right?
Yeah.
And somebody came up to me, hey, what's up, Ceasar? What's good, bro? So I was like, I didn't hear what he said. So I was like, what's up, bro? He said, damn, I ain't seen you in a minute. You gonna do something tonight?
Bro,
I said, what you talking about?
What is going on?
You not on tonight? Or you just chilling?
You not on. Hey.
I said, nah,
and he
bro.
was talking to you.
Yes.
Like
that ass.
In his mind.
He said, man, you cut your beard down, huh?
Nigga.
So I asked, I said, bro, who do you think I am? You ain't Black Caesar?
Who is this nigga, bro? Who is this nigga?
Yeah, man. I was like, he said, damn, bro, y'all look alike.
Oh, my God, yo. That's crazy.
I said, yo, so.
I don't know.
I went to Instagram that same night. I don't look like this nigga, man.
Oh,
This
he
nigga.
did, because he told
I
me
said,
that
bro,
shit
who
too.
the hell is Black Caesar? I said, bro, he was really holding that shit down. He thought I was him.
That's fucking crazy, bro.
I knew you before I knew you.
You not Caesar. Are you sure?
Bro,
it's the beard and the fro, bro.
Bro said, yeah, bro. He said, yeah, you ain't performing tonight. I said,
it's the beard and the fro, bro. That's what it is, man.
Oh, man. Look, real quick, too. Let's shout out our sponsor. We have a sponsor for this episode.
Ooh,
yeah. All right. Essence of Beauty Hair Creations, okay? That is our sponsor. Shout out to them. We're
Shout
going to
out
get more into
Essence.
that, y'all. All right, let's
It's
get
really
into
for
it.
Don. It ain't for us.
Yeah.
It's for us. I keep telling him that. 'Cause if
Essence
I look
do
good,
custom
we look
great
good.
wigs, and
Yeah.
you never gonna
It's for
see
wigs.
Dre in that shit.
Yeah.
So
But
shout
if
out
I look
Essence
good,
for
you
sponsoring
look
Don.
good.
Yeah, if you're trying to get slayed and laid, come to Essence.
Come to- you need to be on the promo. You need to be on the
Okay.
promo.
Shout out
But
to
no,
Essence.
look. All right, we're gonna get into our light talk real quick. All right.
Yeah.
So Caesar, you've been doing some things recently, and you just put out. Is it an album or an EP?
So I just put out an album.
Okay, an
Yeah,
album.
Yeah.
The E Motion Saga. Okay,
E-Motion
emphasis
Saga.
on the E. All right, can
Yeah.
you tell me about that? Like, what was the cultivation of that, and what is the E Motion Saga?
So the Emotion Saga was really me wanting to get to that artistic essence, right? I feel
Okay.
like my poetry is continually evolving, and whenever I think about what I want it to look like, I want to be an artist. I don't just want to be a poet. I want to be an entertainer. I want to be all
Yeah.
encompassing. And so this was really taking that next step in my music, right?
Mhm.
My first album, I feel like it was dope, but I felt like it was really poetry heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of my work at the time was coming from a place of hurt, and so and so this was, I feel, a lot more intentional,
Mm-hmm.
a lot more loving, and informational too, informative. It was produced by Shane Haley. Shout out to
I
my
was
dog
just
Shane
finna
Haley.
say
Yeah.
shout out, because y'all two together is literally just a combination that just don't miss.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
when y'all do y'all thing, and I don't know why, but it does give me like Miseducation, Lauryn Hill vibes. I don't know why. I know that's heavy, but I'm just saying that's what it gives me. But like, talk about y'all's like relationship as far as like how y'all got.
Man,
connected.
just being able to put the music together. Me and Shane met whenever I was hosting open mics back in Deep Ellum at Pop Up DFW.
Got you.
We hosted shows there for about 2 years. Really got to get acquainted with a lot of dope artists in Dallas who are now really doing so well. Comedians, poets, singers, all sorts
Yep.
of folks. Who we used to open up our stage to everybody. And so Shane came through, and we just connected. And I knew that he really had a passion for the music. He was still playing or just graduated from SMU at that time.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like I knew he had a big passion for it, and so we did a couple tracks before, and they were both just did really well.
Did
So
numbers.
whenever we came together for this, I knew it was going to be something that was going to be passionate. But it took us really, almost like 2 years, like a year and a half to put it together. It took a little while, yeah.
Hey, that's not
Mm.
bad, because some people, they release 5 albums in 6 months, and you be like, bro,
It's
you
not
should've
even-
took your damn time.
Yeah. It took
Take
us a
your
little while, but
time,
it was
slow
definitely worth the wait, I would say.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna tell you some of my favorites though. Okay, City Underwater, Cold. Okay, I'm saying all this because y'all need to go stream that. I streamed the
Check it
Emotion
out.
Saga. Okay,
Check it out.
so City Underwater. I like the A-List. He went and did the video for that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna show you that. It's too cold. I mean, like Your Name is Black Caesar, and him having the black background and all that. It was just really, really cool to see that. And Shane's on there too, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Another one was Rat Race. Like, bro, can you just give me a little bit of Rat Race? Like, not doing it, but like how did you come up with that? And
And so, Rat Race is literally just supposed to be speaking from the mind of who I see Black people have become in
Okay.
America, right? And
Yeah.
so you have your YNs, you have people, that at first, and that's a little shoot 'em up, and he's
Yes.
the one
They
that's
did call
yeah, that's his name. So I'm a little
in the-
shoot
in
'em
the
up, and I'll
poem.
be shooting stuff from part evangelist, part angel dust. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, from Don. Yeah, so him being one of them young, conscious crash outs, you know what I'm saying? Because it's
Mhm.
like he say all that, and he'd be like, he talking real, and he say, "Fuck that, man! Free my homie till I see my homie." You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Oh
saying?
my
And it's just
God,
like,
yo.
you have a lot of young cats like that are wise beyond their years, but they're still willing to throw everything away just
Mhm.
for in the name of living forever, in the name of like being a real nigga or
Real
whatever that looks
nigga.
like, and then you also then you go to your so then you go to the church, which is a big commercialization of the church right now. Like,
Yeah.
I've been baptized. I'm really into my faith. If you listen to my poetry,
Yes, you are.
it has a big biblical foundation, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
just seeing that there's been such a commercialization of the church and people really becoming millionaires, pimping prayers, and so that's what that whole thing was, because a lot of times if people out here selling hope, and whether you are the one that's selling it or the one that's buying it, it's a cycle. And I really hate it, because there's so many ways that they could be putting that money back into the community and helping people outside of, and there's nothing wrong with, like, if you are a pastor and you making money, if you have businesses outside, you have books and you're doing tours and speaking and things like that, that's
Yeah.
dope. But you taking millions of dollars from the church is not cool in any capacity, and then not putting that back into people, making sure people good, and, cars, rent, food, clothes, whatever it is, and then you go to the last set of people in that, and it's just those folks who are trying to find themselves. I
Yeah.
would say more or less those 5%ers, those 10%ers that are that are the actual doers, but then you also are still constantly trying to find who you are and what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so Rat Race is really me just taking a look at where we are right now, or how I felt we were looking at that point in time.
I love it. I love it. And you did, you kind of, I like how you changed your voice in that. Yeah, it was you, right? The whole
Yeah,
time?
everything
Okay.
was me.
Because
Yeah,
at
yeah.
first I said, ain't no way this season. Then I was like, that is season. You know what I'm saying? But I liked it because you kind of, I feel like you were tapping into your actor bag. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
you really showed some versatility there. So I like that. And of course, my favorite was the one that got away. Now, I talked to you about it because, Iman Parker, shout out Iman Parker. That's my girl.
Yeah,
Now,
man.
y'all too, that's another combination I like.
She one of them ones. Saman is
One of my
amazing.
favorite
Shout out to
singers right
Iman.
now. And you know what I'm saying? She's not on, you know what I'm
So
saying?
fantastic.
Well, for real. But it was just like, you said that it was like, it's a heartbreak poem. To me, I felt it was so beautiful. But you said it was like really like
If
depressing.
if you listen to it, at the start of it, I'm letting you know that I recognize there were ways I could have loved you better, and now
Okay.
this is the inception of me trying to either get you back or let you know that I have learned my lesson. And but if you
Damn.
listen to it, like I said, it's just it's a love letter, but it was a love letter that was a little bit too late, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so
Okay.
it's like it's always the age old story where when I finally cared more, she cared less. Because women are always like catering to you,
Right.
like, man,
Right.
baby, what you need, da da da, and we be like, man, son, I'm good, I'm straight, or just thinking that that's going to be something that's forever, and
Yep.
then boom, you take that for granted, and then now you're like, no, baby, please, no, you don't want to, you ain't trying to do that no more, no,
Like, you ain't on that. You
and
ain't
so
on that no
then,
more.
you have to go through, really trying to understand like your lows, as a man, and trying to get back, and that's really what that was, the one that got
I
away.
thought it was beautiful. I was
Yeah.
like in it. I don't know where my mind went, but it's also probably because the mom was just in the back. Da 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 da
Going
da da.
crazy,
Yo,
man.
it was so beautiful to me. But I loved it. I loved it. Hey, y'all go, like I said, stream that.
For
Y'all
sure.
please stream that.
I'm curious.
Yeah, what's up?
Watching you last night, like just hearing you project, there's a lot of passion and a lot of pain inside of what you speak.
True that.
Where is all that coming from? At what point did you know, like, I'm supposed to be revolutionary through my spoken word?
Man, that's just it's in me from my inception. Just from I'm born in Jackson, Mississippi, right?
Okay.
And so a lot of the things growing up was me hearing about generations one or two seasons removed that were slaves. Like my great great grandmama was a slave. You know what I'm saying? And my great grandparents were sharecroppers. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of things that we had to see, Jim Crow, I mean, like extreme segregation, where things that were very last to get passed in Mississippi and Louisiana in the South. So that's a lot. I mean, even 2017, I remember just graduating college and we going home to see my grandma, and I'm seeing burning crosses. You know what I'm saying? Like literally.
You was out there seeing the burning crosses?
It was 2 a.m. Yeah,
That's
you know what
crazy.
I'm saying?
I remember I saw my first burning cross when I went to Oklahoma. I was going straight for school. I went to Langston University.
Wow.
Ooh,
We
yep.
hit this straight path, and we was like, damn, what is that?
Hmm.
Seeing that shit in person, it make you feel different.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh.
Like they really out here. It's different from seeing it inside the books and TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sets the tone for you, man. And so being able to be in that space, and then just studying political science in college too, because when I studied political science, it let me see the things that have been set in place, generational laws that have been set in place for us to fail, or for us not to have the same resources or just the same opportunity that other people have. You know what I mean? And so I've always just felt like my grandma used to always say, I got the gift of gab, and once I realized there was a mission, because I'm about the youth, but I'm also about my people too, and so wanting to make sure my people are good and the future is good. It's like I know that I have something to say, and then just continuing to garner that, like giving that gift the time and the space that it needs to grow, so that it can be an overflow, kind of like we're talking about in the car, be an overflow where people can receive it because they deserve it, not just because they're in your proximity. Yeah.
So what a lot of the stuff that's going on today, did that also play into your thought process when you come up with your poems? Like everything in politics is happening, even just recently, with the plantation being burned down.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't realize like history is literally unfolding in front of us, but this ain't nothing new. It's literally nothing new.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the younger generation underneath us, they don't respect the history before because they never lived it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say to those people about tapping back into their roots and understanding where they come from?
Anything that people will put time into trying to erase, is going to hold some validity, right? So you think about the whole critical race theory, right? Them wanting to not talk about indigenous people, them not wanting to talk about slaves, and not wanting to talk about Martin Luther King and different people who actually made really intentional changes and real impactful changes here, whether they got to see it to fruition or not.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? Like they made changes, and there's so many people before him, Marcus Garvey, Fred Hampton, Malcolm X. There's a lot of people, that had to be martyrs for that. And so them wanting to erase that just lets you know that they understand that we're not digging into our culture. We're not digging into our history because so much of our history has been removed from us,
Yeah.
And so I would let people know, just like Frederick Douglass said, if you want to hide something from a black man, you can put it in a book, And so they're wanting to keep that from us for a reason, because the more you understand your power, the more you're going to assume that power and you're going to demand that power from, your space. And that space here happens to be our country, and our country is not made in the capacity for black men and women to want to assume that power, unless you have the money to do so. And even then, money don't, shield you from, it don't protect you. You see,
no.
So anyway,
it's
so
not a
yeah.
bulletproof vest.
So, but that's what I would say. I would say make sure that you're understanding your history, just how Mexicans understand their history, Africans, you know what I'm saying? Even European people, all these folks know their history back to their inception, and ours goes back to slavery, and we don't even want to go that far back, and it's a shame. And so yes, I really make sure that that is prevalent in everything I do, and I try to make sure that the things I'm talking about are relevant to whatever's going on, for sure. So yeah.
What did he say last night? My history is loud.
My history is loud.
And that's hard though. I like that. My history is
I was
loud.
ready
But
for
no,
that,
but I like how you peep that, because it do exude in everything that you do, and every word that you say, it's revolutionary, and that's actually the best word to describe him to me.
Does it get hard trying to like always be empowering, but then like your playlist full of Future and shit?
Nah, bro,
What do you be listening to?
because I think that we as a people we're very fortunate to have a duality, right? We can be, you can be a revolutionary, and you can also enjoy Future and Megan Thee Stallion and Young Nation and whoever too, but it just goes back to, it's a time and place for everything. I was literally just reading that in the Bible, and I believe it was Proverbs. Let me not misquote. But it literally said in the Bible, it is a time and place for everything. It's a time for loving. It's a time for hate. It's a time for war. It's a time for peace. And so just knowing when and where and who you need to be in these spaces, and being able to handle that capacity too, but then you don't want to live too far outside your means, because you don't want to call yourself a man of God, but then you out,
right?
You know what I'm saying, fornicating, drinking, smoking, doing whatever you're doing, and it's something that's detrimental. But like I said, we also are allowed the space to be who we want to be, as long as we are giving everything its proper space,
Talk. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna do a slight pivot in like talk, okay? Because like I said, he's doing multiple things recently, and I've been watching, I've been peeping. So you're in your actor bag, like you've been doing commercials, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like you did Bojangles, Razzoos, Toyota. Am I right?
Yeah, Toyota. So,
did you do Shells?
I did do a commercial with Shell.
I'm on point, okay? My favorite was Bojangles, because you actually came up on my YouTube ads. No cap. I was like, that's that. I said, bro, I literally recorded. I'll send it to you. I'm like, bro, you're on my For You.
Man.
So I mean, just talk to me about just getting into that type. Because you're like you say, you always taking poetry into different spaces. So like, talk about like the acting world a little bit.
Man, the acting world is a different beast. Really, a lot of that is who you know, but a lot of it is just being a professional. And there are so many entities. There's probably like 4 or 5 major production companies that handle all these different commercials. So as long as you do good on some of these commercials, they're gonna keep calling you back if your name comes up on the list. We're like, oh, we might be able to book him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But like, it's a totally different beast. But I really enjoy it though, just being able to see things from the start, like being here on the podcast and then seeing how it's edited, and then going from it being edited to, okay, we got a clip, now we got the full commercial, now it done got 1 million views, and it's just like, dang.
Right.
Like, I remember when I got the call sheet.
Literally.
And so being able to be in that space, it is I'm really grateful. And then and I always tell everybody, poetry really prepared me for this, and I compounded my talents, I would say, just because, the line memorization and having to invoke certain energy and having to go out there and be in front of a lot of people and be comfortable with,
Wow.
you're the only one on camera, but it's 30 people behind
Right.
behind the camera, behind the
Right.
scene. Yeah, and
I
so
like that you're able to do that because a
Yeah.
lot of people think like that's it.
yeah.
It's
Mhm.
poetry, podcasting, music. It takes you into different avenues and
Mhm.
outlets.
Which is what we want to
And
do too.
a lot of people, especially like the younger generation, they just want to make music.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no goal at the end. You just want to be rich and famous because at the end, just like the players in the league, like once you 37, what's next?
Come on.
I mean,
Yeah.
you just been playing ball all your life. You ain't did no acting. You ain't did no monitoring. You ain't did no analytics. You don't know nothing outside of that box.
Yeah.
But all this stuff, I didn't even think. Just like hearing them, I'm trying to figure out how did you cross into writing poems, and then now you on TV and on the screen, and now you doing things with the Mavs and the Rangers. Like, how
Literally.
did you even think that you even be here with poetry? What made you even get into poetry to even be able to unlock this path?
Mm-hmm.
Man, okay, so I know it's a layered question, but just for one, great connections, man. Just because before I was a poet, I've always been a good person. At least I feel like I've always been a good person. I've always been somebody with
Yeah.
good energy. And I used to play college football, and even before that, and after that, I was a teacher. I worked at State Farm, so I've always had a big, wide network. And once I got into the things I was doing, a lot of the people I was connected to, were in these different spaces, and just alignment and opportunity and preparation, really led me, even with the Dallas Cowboys. It was like a Tuesday, and I was having a terrible, terrible day, and this lady called me, and my homegirl was like, "Are you going to be getting a call?" I'm like, "All right." This lady called me, was like, "Hey, this is such and such from the Dallas Cowboys. You want to see if you can come in for a meeting?" I was like,
You just get a call. Wait, so you just get a call? I'm so curious.
How do you have my number at Dallas Cowboys?
Like that?
They say if they need to find you, they'll find you.
They say that, and I be thinking of it. They say that.
Yeah,
I want you to keep
no
going.
cap, and so and just seeing like how much I had prepared because I had just released my book, and I was like, man, the book made me some money, but I'm like, dang, like
Is
you
it
said,
Lend Me Your Ears?
Lend Me Your Ears, yeah,
Hold on,
that's my baby.
Where's my shot? Is this my camera, Lucas?
That's my pandemic baby,
Yeah,
right
this
there.
is my book that he signed. You know what I'm saying? One of the books.
I brought my own copy too.
Look, bro, he brought his book too. I'm like,
I brought my own copy.
He's gonna be promoting.
This is one of the originals. You see, it's
Yeah, he's
old.
like,
this
how
is
you
the
know.
first copy of Lend Me Your
yeah,
Ears
shit.
that went out, man. So I keep that for myself as a little memorabilia. You know what I'm saying? But just to your just to finish up with your question, I really never had like and still I have a vision, but I don't have an end goal because the goalpost is constantly moving. Because as soon as I set a goal for myself, it's like boom, God opens up that door, or He gives me just the foresight to see how easily attainable it can be, just with some work.
Yep.
And so, but I never would have imagined, graduating college and being a depressed adult trying to find myself in the world, and then being like, man, I didn't make it to the NFL. Then 3 years later, signing an NFL contract to do poetry. You know what I'm saying?
That's
It's like God has really utilized me, and He allows me, to be somebody that people want to hear, and have a message. And so I'm really grateful for that. But I could have never imagined, like, I was just wanting to do poetry just so I could get on stage, man, and just get the things off that I was feeling, because I was always writing poems in the house and paint. I was a painter, bro. I don't know if y'all knew that. I used to be a painter. I used to paint, bro. I used to paint before I was a poet. Yeah, I used to paint. They was all right. But then I started writing poems about my paintings, and then I just started writing poems, and then I just started using painting as a way of just like therapy when I get overwhelmed with things. But yeah, so yeah, man, I just wanted to just get rid of that depression and get rid of what I was feeling. But I would have never thought I would be, be here, we know with y'all, where somebody would actually want to hear my story about, the things that I felt and went through and experienced. Yeah.
Hey, your story
On your depression, I don't know if you want to talk about it now. What was keeping you down to make you even want to find an outlet? Because I know for a lot of our youth right here, they don't have outlets.
Right.
They just out here listening to the trap music, and they putting their pain away, but it's not going into nothing depressing. So maybe somebody out there that's actually went through the same stuff that you went through.
Right.
This might help them. So what was that phase of your life that was challenging?
Man, so like I said, I've always been very gifted in football. Played high school football. I was Dave Campbell's top 300.
Nice.
Went to college, Texas University of Commerce.
I was about to say,
what I'm
we
saying?
alumni,
With the Commerce,
we
you know what I'm saying?
Lions.
Played football up there, man. Won a couple of championships, and so seeing a lot of guys that I played with go to the NFL. You know, I graduated. I was in Greenville, Texas for a little bit, and so I was teaching, not making a lot of money. Then even when I moved back to the city, started working at State Farm, was making more money, but I didn't have an identity no more, right? You know, like my identity had always been football. Then I always had like an itinerary. I always knew what I was going to eat, where, when, and where things were going to be. Everything was laid out for me. And in the real world, it was like, here's your apartment, here's your job. Go. And I was just sinking, bro. And like, you know, and I was just like drinking all the time, smoking all the time, fornicating, and just doing a lot of things that I felt were coping in, but I was just digging a deeper hole, man. And then my cousin died, and that's what really, my cousin and my uncle, was a double homicide, and it was just in Mississippi. And it was really, 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 it hit me deep because Alex was a year older than me, you know, and so it just hit me so deeply, and I just needed to share something. I was like, bro, I'm literally gonna crash out. I didn't know what I was gonna do, so I just started writing, and I wrote every day for like 2 years, and then I finally felt free again, but then I didn't feel free because I'm just writing. I wasn't sharing it. So then, shoot, I'm like, now that next step is I need to get out. Shout out to my boy Duke, man, one of my best friends, because I used to call him every day and read him poems. And he like, man, I love hearing your poems, bro, but you need to go and like let people hear your poems. You need to stop calling me, you know. So, so that was that push I needed. And that's what really got me into the poetry, man, just feeling, having to go through just that post-college depression and then losing somebody who I grew up with, like my first cousin, and we grew up like brothers, you know, and so that really, let me know like I didn't have the time I thought I had, so I needed to do it now, you know.
Right. Oh my God, that's powerful. That is powerful. Oh, I feel like we're already in heavy talk, so we can just keep going. I'm gonna have it.
I don't want to get too heavy, man. Let's not have it too heavy.
This is where we do it. I wanted you to, we were gonna transition into it, but we're already in it, so I'm just letting you know we're gonna keep it going, because like from right there, like I like where he started, just like what got you started doing poetry, but like, you know, how'd you get your name, Black Ceasar? How'd you get that? I just want to know.
So if you know, you know. Okay, so blaxploitation. Okay, in the 60s, 70s, man, it was a whole movement. They wrote Netflix has a whole documentary on blaxploitation film, so you should watch it. But there was one particular figure in blaxploitation, Fred the Hammer Williamson. Okay,
this sounds so heavy.
And Fred the Hammer Williamson, he embodied a character by the name of Black Ceasar. Okay, and Black Ceasar was like a vigilante. He was a smooth brother that walked around in a suit, had on one of them little cool top hats, you know what I'm saying? And he would just stick it to the man. He would be giving out turkeys and feeding people, you know what I'm saying? He might have sold a little coke, but it is what it is. Though he might have pimped a little bit.
He sound like Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But he was sticking it to the man and making sure that his people, you know what I'm saying, had what they needed, you know what I'm saying? And he was just a man's man. And I was watching that episode of Jamie Foxx, and it was Freddie Hammer Williamson, I believe Jim Brown walked in, and Jamie Foxx said, Black Ceasar, and I was like, I love the way that sound. You know what I'm saying? Cause even whenever when I went to college, I started calling myself Black Ceasar my senior year in high school. Like I said,
Really?
I used to call myself Black Jesus. It was a whole thing. So but it didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? And so then when I went to college, I had like a beanie that said Black Ceasar on it. So I was Black Ceasar before I was a poet. So then once I became a poet, I was like, he needs his own identity.
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah. And so
that's
so that was the inception of Black Ceasar.
I knew
for
it was
me.
gonna be so hot though.
Yeah.
I just knew it. That's where your name come from.
That's some smooth shit. You know who you remind me of? You remind me of Marcus Grant. I don't know you from Boomerang. Smooth and shit, got the nice head on his shoulder. He wooing the ladies and shit out there. There's a spoken word, the spotlight. I know you be having hell, bro, in your relationship, bro. I just know.
Bro,
don't be out there serenading motherfuckers and shit.
You were serenading in a way because it's just how you talk, how you carry yourself. It attracts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. It is a blessing and a curse. But I love the space. But that's just been me, even before the poetry. Like I have 3 sisters and my mom, you know, my dad, of course, and so I've always been privy on how to talk to women and just how to treat people in general. But the women are complex but very simple creatures. You know what I'm saying? And then that poetry, it it does not help once you start speaking smooth and stuff. You know,
like,
go.
oh my
yeah.
God, say that again.
You,
Like,
you
for real.
chivalrous? Oh my God! Oh, what did
Oh
you?
my
He read
God.
books. He read books.
No,
Buddy
reading
just out here
books
speaking
is.
facts.
I'm like, I thought I was just.
I'm gonna tell you right now, reading books is a flex. You're reading. I want to be with you.
Oh my
That's
God!
what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
No
not like.
cap, bro.
That was wild.
I'm
So,
just
yeah,
saying.
that's
I
very
mean,
funny.
Don just love anything, man.
I don't
You
love
open
any-
you
I
open the
don't-
door for Don right now. You want to get coffee, kava?
I
Coffee
love
and
First of all,
kava,
give me kava. We're there. Okay, we're
That
there.
water bottle fall right now. You pick that shit up. It's over with.
I can't stand this nigga. Just so you know, I can't stand him. Anyway.
You can call me tonight.
That is
I
fun.
told you he's something else, bro. They don't know. They
Oh
gonna
my
know.
God.
They gonna know soon enough.
Right, she gonna hold on to that shit too. Look at us. Show him your screensaver right now.
Oh, you talking about
This
my
is
baby?
watching
Hold
this
on.
movie one time.
Oh no,
my
not
God.
one time. This is
I've
this
seen
how it's
it.
always been though. This is
Oh my gosh,
seen
I'm
it.
so in love
This
with
is-
him.
this is how it's always been.
Did you get the message?
But hold on, I gotta-
I've seen the screensaver.
Did you
but
get
no,
the
it
message?
really be. It used to be this though. You know what I'm saying? Like this is usually what it really is.
Did you
on
just?
the
It
regular.
was like a slide. You slid it over.
Yeah, I slid it over. It's because I
That
have
shit
multiple
crazy.
Chris Brown.
Just
options
depending on how
Chris.
she feeling.
Free my baby. You know
Night
what
and
I'm
day.
saying?
He got one for night, one for day. And light skin,
for real.
dark
Chris
skin.
Brown at the back. Hey, shout out Chris. Hey, I'm gonna
Shout
need
out
you to
Chris.
be out by September though, my
Please,
Shout
boy.
out to Breezy.
please
though.
come back because we're trying.
Yeah.
We got tickets. So
Shout out to Breezy, man.
no, for sure. All right, Ceasar. Look, what people I don't know. I think most people know, but you're a full time poet
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
You know, can you talk about that transition from with being in a working life and then saying, hey, I'm going full force into what I believe in, what I want to do, and then actually being one of the best to do it type shit.
Man, it is not easy being an entrepreneur of any
Bro.
sort, any capacity. It don't matter what you're selling, but poetry is not easy to sell. You know what
I
I'm
was just about
saying?
to say,
like
that is the hardest thing.
Yeah,
Because just to
I'm-
bring people out to an open mic, but let alone
Yeah.
monetizing poetry.
Yeah, it's
Oh
not
my
easy.
I'm
God.
gonna take notes because I'm trying to
Take-
figure out. He said he
I'm
full
taking
time.
like,
Let me start that
up
right.
under him.
Shit.
That's why I be right up under Ceasar because I'm trying to learn everything from this dude, bro. I literally am.
You are very, bro. You are hilarious, no. But it's no. But in seriousness though, it's just a lot of work, man, and having to make it sexy and having to have the connections and the wherewithal and the know-how to work for free. Because like I said, I did shows for free for like 2 years. Like I was doing hitting
about it.
every open mic I could touch, and even then when I got my first paid show, okay, this is my bar, and I set my bar as far as what I felt my value was at that time. But then once I knew, okay, I have true value, then I can set my own. I can set my own
How
price.
do you determine that? Like,
Man, what you bring to a situation. And so whenever I was working with the Dallas Mavericks here recently, whenever you're coming into a partnership, you want to be answering questions. You want to leave that partnership meeting with letting them know, I know that you have a problem and I'm bringing you a solution type deal, and this is a solution oriented business. And so letting them know that I have value outside of just Black History Month and Juneteenth, letting them know that I can teach workshops, letting them know that, I can also host, letting them know that, he has a variety of different poems that he can talk about. He can talk about women, or he can talk about breast cancer, or he can talk about, whatever the situation, the AKAs, like I've been fortunate to work with so many different people now just because I've shown my value, but that value came from putting that 10,000 hours in, and then, like I said, and just building off of it. So I got to a space where I was working so hard for somebody else. I'm like, okay, I need to be able to put the same amount of time into what I'm doing. And then once I found a way, okay, let me make this lucrative. Okay, I see I can teach classes. Okay, cool. All right, I know if I host shows, I will make at least this much a month to host shows. Okay. And then things started to shape up to where, okay, damn, I might be able to pay my rent for the next couple months. You know what I'm saying? Like off of just my poetry stuff.
Right.
Damn, I've been paying my rent all year. But I've been able to, like I said, once I seen that there was a value for what we were doing, and then even in the charity space, being able just to give back, and then I see that you can be the poet laureate. I see that they have professional positions for poets, national, like local and nationally, and so I'm
That's
just
dope.
like, so
this is
it's
dope.
all about building out, man. Like you get yourself an infrastructure, understand why you're doing it, get your infrastructure. If you don't have a team, just make yourself a Swiss Army knife at whatever it is, and you got to just be really good at one thing, and you can just make everything else work until you can start, outsourcing things. So, but yeah, man, like I said, I found that once I could find my value, I knew that it was time for me to like take this like full time and like really put that time into it. Cause I would be at work sick, man. I'd be like, man, even my supervisors be like, man, you have too much. You have too much charisma and energy to be here. You need to be, you know what I'm saying? They used to always, like one of my managers be like, you need to be on TV somewhere, man. You're handsome. You're doing this and that. Like, why are you here? And I'm
why
like,
are you here?
you know, and so people are, you know, so they say, yeah. So that's really when I knew it was time.
Did you jump though, or is it a transition? Like, did you say, okay, I'm gonna plan this, and then then move to that, or did you just say, hey, I'm quitting my job?
I was pushed. I wasn't jumped. I was pushed.
You were pushed.
Yeah, because
someone
it was,
pushed you.
Yeah, no, they pushed
Someone, go.
They pushed me up out of there. It was during the pandemic, man. I was working at this spot, and I was like already kind of on the fence. I was like, man, okay, the pandemic's about to end. We about to get back into the real world, and I wrote that book, and I made like maybe like $15,000-$20,000 off the book, and I was so
Lend me
lit.
your ears?
Yeah, I've lent me your ears.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, this right here is one of my favorite. There's so many. I'm gonna get to it.
That's my
this
love
is
child,
one of my
man.
favorite freaking poetry books. Actually, it is my favorite poetry book. And I even went on live one time, and I even did one of your poems because I just read one of them. He was on that live because I love it. It was the morning prayer. It's the most beautiful thing. A California forest fire.
Come on,
burning in my
soul. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know, Drake. I know. I had to. Bro.
So, see, you free? We can go talk about it again.
No, that was dope, bro. This is your heart is in this. I already know. So that's really congratulations.
I was in a different type of time. I said, but my new book, like I said, make sure I get that.
Oh yeah.
As tensions rise, you know what I'm saying. My new book is Tensions Rise. It is full of heart and soul and a lot of love to them. But this that pandemic, baby. I spent a lot of time by myself in my solitude, and I was just pouring my heart out. I was separated from my family in that time. Yeah. I was, kind of going through like, okay, am I really going to be able to do this poetry thing? And then, I was working at a spot, and they fired me. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm about to just ride this little money out.
I got laid off soon as the pandemic. That was my first job out of college, and I got laid off. They paid a severance package though, but I got laid off.
No, it wasn't no
layoff. I just quit. Yeah, Pepsi had me fucked up.
They did.
Drake, you find out Drake had so many jobs.
Drake, can I talk about
that one job? Yeah.
Which one?
Joe was a gigolo.
Shut up.
I'm a gigolo, spending lots of dough.
You can tell him, man. I'm good.
He was making boobies.
Yo,
like he
was making boobies,
like for like adult shops.
Like the ones you put in the
like silicone boobs.
Hey, so check it.
Silicone joints.
How did you get there?
Don't you got to be a doctor to do that?
I thought the same thing. So, ladies, doctors ain't really making y'all shit. I'm telling y'all right there.
Drake was making your boobs. Hey, 2020.
So this is after COVID. You know, you be on Indeed and LinkedIn and shit. And I got a message. Come to the office. Did it, and I was like, so what's the job description? Like, what are we doing?
I'm crying.
So when she said it, I was like, what? She said, so we manufacture the breast implants.
She said it real fast.
I said we manufacture
speed over that, baby. Don't speed over that.
Day one, I went in there and they put me in my hazmats and everything. Right? And I'm walking down the hall. I shit you not. It's just a whole hall of different sized titties. Like different stages of like how it's made. All the way up. You see the small ones all the way up to the big ones. I remember they do the sizes by number. You got like 220s, 750s. The higher the number, the bigger the boobs and shit. All right.
Oh god.
So I'm new into this industry. So my job was I had placement and injection. That was my side.
Oh, okay.
So I did all that. I did all the injection with the saline. They didn't use silicone no more. Silicone was bad for the body. So that's how I found it. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So I'm over here. I'm like, bro, what is this? And I hit the button too hard. And all that titty juice fell on my pants. That's how I knew it was like, oh, no.
Titty juice.
So I learned how to build build boobs from scratch.
You can build a bitch up.
Like, no, for real. Crazy thing was, I was posting, like, because people was like, bro, where are you at? I would just post, like, clips on Snapchat.
Oh, my God.
I was in like offices and shit, and I was just putting boobs on the wall on Snapchat and shit. And then, surprisingly, this girl I knew, she was like, hey.
Yeah, tell the
She's
story.
like, do you work for, I ain't gonna say their name, but do you work for so-and-so? I said, how you know? She said, I saw the logo. That's where mine came from. I said, she sent the picture. I said,
of the finished product.
I said, oh. I'm glad to be a service to you.
You took him out,
if
bro.
you need some more, make sure you go talk to your local office.
I thought Dre had strange jobs, man.
Oh my God, bro! So I got a question.
I won't tell you I'll tell you the partner company. Y'all won't guess. That's why I was like,
the
what?
partner company? No, I don't know.
The partner company is Johnson & Johnson. Baby powder, yeah.
Oh my God.
They out here making boobs too.
Johnson & Johnson making titties.
Johnson & Johnson out here making titties.
Well, I have a question for you now. So whenever you're out every day in your walk of life,
I can tell.
And you see women,
I
you
can
like.
tell.
I could have contributed.
Them 350s.
You can see you know sizes, dimensions, everything.
Yeah,
oh
bro,
my
I just be
gosh!
like them hoes fake.
But you like Rain Man for titties.
Bro, like, yeah, I can tell. I feel like them hoes fake.
He like the equalizer for titties. You see them hoes, he be like 17, 45, 50, 55. Triple D's.
Bro, it was so crazy, bro. It was nothing in there, bro. Like Vietnamese women, like the Vietnamese women, they was all at the back. They did all like the lasering and the finish touching.
Oh
Bro,
my
like
God.
you gotta cook these shits too.
Oh God,
you gotta put them in an incubator so they can get heated and clean. They go in there like 20 times before they even made. So once the finished product is there, it's like it's floppy, right?
Oh God.
And then they put these magnets inside of them. The magnet about this big, bro.
This is a magnet in the boob.
It is. It's a magnet in the mouth. So if you see a woman with some big breasts and her shit going off with the detector, she probably got them shits done. So the magnet pulls the needle for when the doctor does the injection, so it pinpoints exactly where the saline should intersect so it won't seep out.
Oh my God.
But
They walking around here with magnets inside them.
Boobs
Well, that's
101.
crazy.
Boobs
Saline.
101.
I was out here.
Shout out Johnson
We never
Johnson.
knew.
I was out here cyborgs. That's
They were
crazy.
setting off.
Bro, that's
detectors.
actually really interesting.
man.
I appreciate you telling me
man.
that. It's really, really interesting. I'm glad to know that. Like, no cap.
Also, Pepsi, yeah, y'all stop drinking them shits.
I don't drink
they-
soda.
Yeah, the workers are drinking out of the bottles and putting them back on the store shelves. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
You're a Pepsi drinker. Mountain Dew
don't
is
drink.
Pepsi product.
Don't
Water.
drink.
Dasani
none of that.
water is a Pepsi product.
That got me. They
don't like
make my
Dasani
mouth.
anyway.
Your mouth ever start watering in a bad way where you just like.
Yeah, like it got a bad taste.
It's
and
that
shit.
grit.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay,
Hell
no, I
no.
appreciate that. That's crazy.
Well, let's get back to this poetry. We did a hard pivot and it's fine. I'm understanding. But so full-time poet.
Yeah.
Are you the owner of Spitfire?
Yes.
How did that cultivate? and come
So
about?
we used to. This is pre-pandemic, so people don't know. I've been into this poetry shit for a long time. So pre-pandemic, me and my roommate, shout out to D Black, we used to host events in our apartment living room. We used to do Spitfire Saturdays.
Are you kidding me?
I swear to God, and we used to invite over about 15 to 25 people, and everybody would bring like some wine or like a little charcuterie board, and people be sitting on the floor, on the couch, all in the kitchen and
He's really
shit.
that guy. Like,
And-
you was really doing
And we used to
this.
have this at at my crib. Like,
Bro,
I'm
I
talking
bet your
about.
neighbors is wondering what the fuck.
What is
Yo.
going
Thursday?
on, bro? I'm talking about it used to be a vibe. Like Taylor Morgan used to come through
Are
and
you
sing, bro. Yeah,
serious?
it used to be a vibe.
I
bro.
love
And
her.
I'm talking about in our living room, and I'm talking, and so
She's
it got
cold.
to the point where our living room didn't have enough space. So I was like, okay, well, let's think about trying to like do an event.
Bro, you
somewhere.
wasn't scared, bro? All them people coming to your house
Man,
every week?
No, everybody that came, we knew and we vetted, and then like I said, me and my roommate, like, you know, anybody that come outside there, they they standing a chance of getting hurt. They ain't finna come inside there, you know.
Caesar is you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He
they're not
buff.
gonna come in there in no trouble.
Caesar don't even need bodyguards because he is the bodyguard. Like when he coming, we thinking, oh, you hosting? Oh, I thought you was the bodyguard.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm about to be
this
on
dude,
stage.
he about to be, bro. Caesar don't be playing about that.
Nah.
He
So,
don't play about that.
but we also put out, like I said, we've had our shows now for about going into our third or fourth year, probably our
Yes.
fourth year, and we've never had security. We've had 2 incidents at any of our shows, and one of them involved us, and like all of them were immediately, you know, dissolved and stuff. But yeah, like you
No,
said,
for
it's just the
real.
energy that we bring out, you know.
Right.
You know. And
Nice.
but yeah, we used to do that in the living room, and that's how Spitfire started, man. We used to have it all the time. Everybody coming through, kicking it. You know what I'm saying?
Did y'all make flyers and shit too, bro?
No,
Like,
it
you
was kind of like a
mouth?
word of mouth thing. Like, hey, we doing something tonight. Bring a
Mhm.
couple friends. You know,
Yeah.
we tell about 5, 6 of our partners, and then invite like a bunch of ladies, and then we just kick it. You know what I'm saying? Till
Wow.
everybody went home.
I would have never thought that. I just thought that you was like, okay, let me make a brand, and that's how. But you really was like when you talk about that 10,000 hours. I just wanted you to go back to it because we talked about it before. Like, because people be like just starting off doing poetry, and like, man, if they not paying me, I'm not going.
And
I ain't, man. If you ain't doing this, I ain't going. But it's like, bro, don't you love it?
you gotta
Don't
be.
you?
You have to be willing to do that shit for free because that's the only way you're gonna learn. A lot of times, people are gonna either charge you or they're gonna charge you money or time. You know, and
Yeah.
I'd much rather pay my time just because then I'll actually know it. You know, and I'm not gonna
Right.
be getting no half-ass work. I'll know it in and out. And this poetry stuff, anything that you're doing is worth that time. But poetry is really going to give you what you give it. If you want to go out and
Right.
be, like a screaming slam poet, not a scream. No, let me not say that. If you want to just go out and be a slam poet, you can totally be a slam poet, and you can like circuit and make money and things like that. If you want to host shows and cultivate, you can do that. But like what you put into it, you're gonna get out. And I realized that early, like, man, this is something that I absolutely love, and it was therapeutic for me. So I
Thank
wasn't
you.
doing it as a way to make money when I started. I did it as a way to free myself
Yep.
because I didn't really feel liberated, and I didn't feel like I had an identity, And so
Right.
yeah, so I was willing to do this, and then even when I first got paid, I was like, "Oh, damn, you paying me?" Like,
Right.
you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
It was a
Like,
plus
yeah. So
anything.
it was a blessing. I got paid. I remember Becky. I don't know if you know Becky the poet, but Becky the poet paid me $40 for my first show, and I got to sell tickets. And if I sold my tickets, I made $40, and I was lit off that $40. You
No,
hear
for
me?
sure.
I'm talking
for
about
sure.
what?
Respect
Yeah,
the
you know?
grind.
Mike
No
Gwynn
cap.
gave me my first show. I think I made like $63.
Yep.
That was dope.
Yep.
That was real
Shout out
dope.
Mike Gwynn.
For sure.
I want to touch on something because people don't realize there's 2 sides of this entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Consistency is the first half. Being consistent no matter pay or no pay, right? The second is marketing.
Wow, bro.
How did you market yourself and position yourself to be seen while also staying true? Because that's also a key part that a lot of people miss.
Right.
Is the marketing strategy behind it.
Man, you got to sell it. You have to, because we're all brands, right? I'm a
Mhm.
brand. Black Caesar is a brand. Like, and so I'm Chris Toddy, right? And so there's just how I talked about duality earlier. And when people get to talk to me a little bit, they're like, dang, you're not like I thought you were. You're a little bit more fun. You're a little more loose, than I thought you didn't see me on stage. And so you really do have to buy into yourself. Just like Beyonce got Sasha Fierce, you have to buy into that character whenever you sell it. So selling myself as that strong, sexy, black, empowering figure, I will do that all day because that's naturally who I am, and then looking good and sounding good and being good at what I do, being great at what I do is a bonus, And so just knowing your strengths, you know what I'm saying, and knowing business, knowing what people look for, knowing your audience, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know there are a lot of young brothers that kind of want to get into poetry, but they're like, yeah, but if they got a girl, they're going to want to come to some poetry shows. Women our shows are always packed with women, but we might have 6, 7 dudes, but then we got 50 women in it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so knowing your audience, knowing who to cater to is going to be key in any business. And like I said, just naturally knowing how to vibe, bro, knowing how to create good energy and just knowing how to create a space where people feel comfortable. That was always and has always been like my focus, no matter if I'm in a more professional setting, if we're doing an open mic, whatever it is, I'm going to create that air of comfortability where people know, like, okay, he about his business, but he's also like, I feel like I've known him my whole life, whether you just met me or you really have,
Right.
Yeah.
Because when we come to a Black Caesar show, it's a Black Caesar show. And we stay kind of a little bit after the show because we really are vibing. We're gonna start dancing. We're gonna start hanging out.
Yeah.
But it's like a family, like you said, bro. At the beginning, like that when I was talking about doing it for not the money at first, it wasn't about the money for me. Like being around y'all was the community of it all. Like I'm like, bro, these people are actually just like me. Like I got friends in different, like I got work friends, I got friends that I went to college with, all that other good stuff. But when I got my, my poetry family, that was different because it was just like, no, we really vibing, like we really the same type stuff. And I came because Ceasar gonna be there, Brendan gonna be there, Iman gonna be there. I came because of that. And then we performing and we having a good time. It wasn't like money. You know what I'm saying? That was money for me. That was like, and he talking about the energy that it really is. You know what a Black Caesar show feel like type shit.
Cease, you quoted Proverbs earlier in the show. How important to you is to keep that faith, and how do you keep that balance between God and society, and also making sure that you work? Because I know a lot of people, they hit these different steps of success, right? And they look back and they don't have no supporters. They think they're doing it all on their own. But when you hit that bad time, you're supposed to call on God, right? So at what point in time did you find out God was definitely what you needed? And what can you say to, this is a two-parter, what can you say to upcoming creatives that don't have that support and steer them to turn towards God?
Man,
Great question.
his connectivity, understanding his word, understanding his message, understanding how he wants us to move is paramount. And even like I said before, I was a poet. I've always been into my good book. I'm Adventist. So I recognize the Sabbath, which is Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So I've always had my family strongly rooted in my faith. My mom singing Yolanda Adams all throughout the house. You know what I'm saying? And so I've always had that understanding that anything I'm gonna do, anything that I'm going to even step my foot in, it has to be, rooted in God, and you have to understand like what He has for you. And we all have a mission, right?
Yeah.
And him talking to me, I used to have like a terrible stutter problem, right? And so me being able to talk to him in my lonesome, because a lot of times I felt like he was the only person I had, because I couldn't always get out my thoughts, or like talking to people, I felt like they were in a rush because they were like, hey, can you? So anyway, I knew that he was going to be somebody I can lean on. Going into my work, man, just understanding, the Bible is the biggest book of poetry that there is. If you read the Bible, they be spitting, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like if you read the Bible, I'm like,
she would give me scriptures and be like, use this.
And I'm like, wait a second,
it's beautiful.
There's some heat,
It is.
And so just understanding that, you do have support, but that support is people are going to take you as serious as you take yourself, right? And so if you're not presenting yourself as a professional, if you're not consistent with your shows, if you're not consistent or good or intentional with your marketing and things that you're doing, you're not going to garner any support. People are not going to want to follow you. But, taking yourself serious and really putting your best foot forward, as a professional, whatever line of work that you in, that's whenever you're going to really get that support. And there are times I feel like I didn't or don't have support, but man, I have so many people that love me, and that have supported me, and people are not going to always be able to be there. So that's why, you grow. And just remember too, your friends are not going to be your audience that you're trying to sell. So your friends aren't going to be able to be at every show. You need to be out finding those grassroots connections and building in harmony, and extending your territory like they talk about, in a good book, man. So just know that God is going to be prevalent. So it don't matter who you are, He needs to be at your foundation. Even if you consider yourself secular, non-secular, God wouldn't put it on your heart to create if it wasn't meant to be created. You just need to understand like why you doing it. You understand? And everything else gonna take care of itself.
Love it. Love it. You had another question too that was really good. I don't want to ask it, but remember my favorite question.
He kind of touched on it. So,
but yeah, elaborate.
I got two more things I want to talk about. And
he had a good question for you, man.
One is being masculine. You're a very well put together brother.
Appreciate it.
That's in a very touched industry, but it ain't highlighted, right? A lot of creators, male creators, they go into sports, singing, rapping, because it's all masculine. All right.
Talk about it.
How'd you take your masculinity and block out social views of what men should be doing and stay true to your craft?
Man,
Because like you said, there's only 7 men to 50 women.
They don't be coming, and they be
inside of a show
thinking
because
to be honest, they be thinking it's corny.
so, man, you can watch me spit porn. You ain't come over there.
They not going.
lame,
They
man.
not
What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, bro. I to your point, man. Just knowing who I am, you know, I'm very fortunate to have had the family support that I've had, and my mom and dad have always allowed me. Cause like I said, I have 3 sisters, so there's no way they could tell these 3 black girls, hey, you can cry, you can feel your emotions, you can do this, but you got to be tough, you got to be woo wop. No, so I'm very, very in touch with my emotions, and I'm very understanding of perspective and what other people are feeling. You know, I feel like I'm an empath. I get a lot of that intuition and things from my mom. You know, just like I said, the Mississippi roots. You know, and run deep, and so. And so, just like I said, just understanding who I am, I understand that I represent a large community of people. Now, we're not a monolith, so I don't speak for all black men, you know. But a lot of the things I have to say, I've had brothers be like, "Man, I've been wanting to say that for a long time," or I feel that exact same way. I've had brothers come up to me after shows, like with tears in their eyes, like, "Bro, like, thank you." You know what I'm saying? Thank you for what you're doing, because you know we don't always have a voice, and so it's a responsibility. And I think as I've gotten deeper into it and seen just the landscapes of what poetry is and can be and will be, you know, it has been. I just understand that there is a responsibility to speak to my demographic and to my people and to my brothers, is because, you know, like the LGBTQ, that like they're going to speak to them. The black women, they're going to speak to black women. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. But it's like black men, we have to, and I'm trying to, and that's what I'm focus more and more, dude. Like speaking outside of just sexual or intimate settings, but speaking on real things that are affecting us and how we can cope with that, you know. And so, so it's a responsibility. I really feel that.
Yeah, man, and that's why I kind of tested it just to see if would you say it when you talk about your depression. That's what let me know it was like, okay, bet he's open, he's intact, he ain't so bottled up. Because a lot of dudes, they don't want to talk about their feelings. They don't want to talk about what's hindering them, bro. But it's like, especially for like your outlet, I feel like that is what you can have because you putting all your thoughts into your word. This is real shit for you, but it's therapy. So you ain't really got to be too much bondled up. A lot of people in their industry ain't got that outlet. I mean, of course, music is there, but it's like, what else?
Right?
They're not going to therapy. They don't want to talk to their girl. They're not going to talk to their mama.
Talk heavy.
Majority of the black community don't have their fathers.
Talk heavy.
So,
and then your boys they gonna understand your serious talk for a minute, and then that's just gonna turn into,
because they're not gonna ask, bro. When you say you're depressed, like, okay, let's find out why. Why were you depressed? Because, bro, you gotta talk. I'm gonna say this for some of the dudes out here, whoever's listening, for the male audience. You, in order to be the best version of you, you got to be able to speak what's setting you back. And if it's you, say that shit. If it's your surroundings, say that. There's nothing wrong with being verbal about what you feel. I feel like society and or some women today made it so hard for dudes to be vulnerable. And it's like, bro, he gonna crash the hell out. Oh, he didn't need a hug. He need a hug,
bro.
You know?
A hug is powerful. You seen that video where that man hugged his nephew, right? And he just broke down. A hug is powerful. You know how many times you look around and people just not giving out their hugs to their loved ones, even brothers and sisters. They haven't hugged them in years. And it's like that, you know. So I get that.
When you think about it, bro, like women have the best outlet support. They can go on girls trips. They can go spa day.
Go to your homegirl house.
You
go to my
see you trying to hit the spot. What?
What you
talking about?
What you mean, bro?
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? Bro.
So you saying it's not like that for men? Like y'all don't think y'all have like that safe space?
If you do, bro, you got one partner. One.
Maybe
one. And you know like 30.
Yeah.
But you only got one because the rest of them ain't emotionally tapped in to understand what you coming through, or they too hard shelled to even be like, bro, I'm not finna tell him what I'm going through, bro. I know I need to cry right now, but he finna laugh and
not
shit.
trying to hear that.
They ain't trying to hear that.
And they just go to their girl or something for that, huh? You think?
Not even.
Nah. I mean, brothers really do not have a space. Even myself, there's so many things that I don't because I don't always want to pimp out my I don't want to pimp my pain, right? So I don't want to every time I feel something sad, well, let me go write it. And that is good to go write a poem about it, but sometimes you want to. There's different ways to express how you're feeling. You know what I'm saying, or to address it. But brothers don't really always have that outlet, especially if you're not tapped in or if you haven't always been told, to address your feelings. Sometimes you're told to compartmentalize. Sometimes you're told to move forward, or you don't even have the space to address it because life is continuing to happen. You still got bills, you still got kids, you still got whatever's going on that we have to take care of. And there's so many things that that you're not ever really get your bearings, and then you're trying to live in reality, but then you also, I'm hurting inside, but I have to compartmentalize that, because if I do talk about it, it's soft or it's sassy or you're complaining, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that there's just such a divide in communication because black men used to be able to feel what they needed to feel. OJ, man, he said Eddie LaVer said, we cried together.
We
He
cried.
Said, we
Oh.
cried,
Together.
cried. We cried. And
That's
used
a
to
beautiful
be
song.
able to do that. Used to be able to
Yeah.
come to your woman and let them know how you're feeling. But now there are certain aspects of manhood or monogamy or whatever you have. There's certain aspects of that we're not allowed to elude or we're not allowed to feel anymore because it will
see it as a red
taken
flag,
over.
bro.
Yeah.
Just
It's
to,
a
to
red
my
flag.
future husband, you can cry with me.
Cry.
Cry with me, baby.
Brothers,
No,
it's
they
okay.
not finna cry with you. You just laughed at Saucy.
Why?
You just laughed
Let
at
me
Saucy
clear
for
my
playing with
name.
Legos, man.
Hold on. Let me
I mean,
clear my name.
Lego.
I'm clearing my name. I never laughed at this.
God.
Saucy. I
Right.
never. You know I didn't laugh at you, man.
You laughed
Lu-
I laughed.
Lucas was
The
here.
fact that you said Lego.
He was here.
Right. He said Lego instead of Legos. I was used to Legos with the S. And so when he took it out, I couldn't handle that. So no, I did
Don
not
laughed at this man the
'cause
whole
there is-
episode.
No, because it's Dre's fault. Dre said, make the clip. I made the clip, right? I posted the clip. Now all the men, I've never had
Hey,
this
they
many men.
eating her ass up in
They
the
came
inbox,
for me.
man.
They said, "Oh, so you want to do that smoke weed and go to the club and don't play late?" I said, "That's not what I never said that. I
her
never."
inbox been ringing.
Going crazy.
Even somebody I talked to, I'm like, he's
You don't like
so
brothers
what if-
playing
he's-
Legos?
That's what he said. He said, what if I play Legos? I said, I never dissed Legos.
I can't do puzzles, nothing.
Oh my!
No.
I like that. I like the sensuality
Brothers,
of these things.
it's okay to be practical, brothers.
It's
can't
not,
win,
Dre.
bro.
I
Cool.
blame you.
We can't
I
win.
blame
It's
you.
cool.
Hey, it did what it
Because
was
these
supposed to
men
do.
literally felt they were mad. They were like, "Oh, we can't play Legos now." I never said that. It was the term Lego that took me out. I'm clearing my name.
Shout out Saucy, bro.
Shout out to Saucy.
Keep building your Lego, bro.
I can't stand you. I hate you, bro. Anyway, man, Ceasar, I want to tell you some of my favorite poems of yours, bro. So they're my favorite poems, for sure. I like the Black Queen one you did last night because all the names. It was like, remember I told you, I was like, what are those names you're saying in there? Like, I know the Mansa Musa is some, like you said, the king, right? One of the richest ones.
The richest.
The richest, my fault. My fault. You know what I'm saying? But even just the names that you were using, it was just like the language and the culture you was in there. I did want to kind of ask, what was the research you were doing
Research.
get those, to talk about the things you were talking about in that poem is really deep.
Everything that I do, like I said, I'm very fortunate education major, so like I'm rooted in having to like research and having to like search for things so that I can properly, relay them, right? Regurgitate them to the people.
I'm a big research head too.
So I was like, okay, of course, we know Oshun, okay, we know Yemi Ya, but let's talk about some Black queens. And so I went deep. I found this website. I'll send it to y'all. But it just had talked about a lot of African deities, and it just showed like the top 9 African deities, the top African queens or entities that ever lived or created, should I say? I almost say lived, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But these different entities, and just showing how they all each had their own power, how they all each controlled different elements of the earth, how they all each offered us different ways of peace, different ways of vengeance sometimes too. That's why I was like, she is both savior and serpent. You know what I'm saying? Because she could either save you or she could completely remove you from from where you are. And so going into understanding that these deities have been here, and they continue to pour into us, and they continue to be just they're embedded in our DNA. And so a lot of times whenever people say, man, I can feel the energy on you, man, that's our ancestors.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying? And
he was talking
yeah.
that talk.
Yeah, for
and
real.
I like the one, if the world was ending, you would come over, right?
Come over, right?
See,
no, for
see,
sure.
in love already.
That's one of my. Hey, that every time he do that, I be like, bro, talk that talk, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? He be talking. But so look, I got another one too. A morning prayer. I do want to read this because I just want to. I'm gonna read it, and then I want you to tell me what made you write this poem. I just want you, whatever event, I don't know, but what made you write this poem? Okay. So this is a morning prayer from Leave Me Your Ears. Okay. As an eager sun beams gracefully through these cracked blinds, paralyzed by your sleeping beauty, I begin to pray. Amber radiance paints soft scenes on resting in melanin, recreating my theory of love. A California forest fire spreading through every acre of my aching soul. Reaping the harvest God would manifest in Galatians 6:9, for this union requires the patience of his disciples. What, bro? Like, did you know you was talking that talk like that?
I knew I was on
Bro,
something at that
I've never
moment.
letting that go ever in my life. It's my favorite poem.
Man.
What made you write that? Okay.
Man, it's crazy.
What happened?
And I really do my best to be in the moment after I'm intimate with a woman, right? I try my best just to be in a moment with her and not get finished making love and roll over and start writing because I don't want to seem like I'm being selfish. I don't want to seem like...
I knew he was going to say it, bro. I knew it.
See. What?
Yo, you heard that right.
Wait.
You heard that right.
Yeah. Like,
As I crept underneath you. What?
I'm so sorry.
As I
You
crept
writing
between the
poems?
I'm
sheets.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They gonna let him do it too.
No, they're going to be like, oh, this is so romantic.
Baby, you
Like,
my inspiration for this one. You,
Yeah.
Literally, bro.
I got you.
did you? Was it one of them scenes though? Like,
It was so it was like I was in my new apartment, like I had a nice little crib and everything,
Yeah, yeah.
and there was a lady I was dating at the time, and we were getting a little more serious, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we had like a real good, like a wonderful evening. This was like just a lot of love making and wine and just things happening.
I told you,
wasn't
Marcus,
a night.
Marcus
It was
Grant, bro.
it was an
He is the
evening.
new boomerang for this generation.
talk heavy.
Bro, did you pull the cover back and look at her
Hey,
feet?
it was
Oh,
crazy.
for sure.
He did.
That's
He
the
did, yeah.
tester. That's the tester. We all know this.
And when I say like I had these little blinds and like just how the light was hitting her, and I was just like, dang, like she looks so good. Like, am I tripping? And then she looked at me like, why are you looking at me like that? And I was just like, no reason. I'm just observing you. Like I'm just admiring you. And she's just like, all right, tell me more. And then I initially started spitting that out loud to her. Like,
Really?
I just kinda
Freestyle
started
vibe?
freaking out, like to freestyle my poems a lot of time. And then I was like, no, let me stop.
Just talked her out of her drawers.
I need to write this shit
Literally,
down.
though. Literally.
Oh no, she was already. She didn't have.
She was done. She was
there
already there.
There were no.
There were no clothes in this
garments.
right at this time.
Yeah, it was
Spoken in the
already.
story.
Yeah, this is in the morning time. This is post love making in the morning.
Ah,
I
got
was watching
you.
her as I woke up. I get up early and I just saw the silhouette. That's
Right.
that light, sun
Right.
rays shining on her, and I was just like, damn. Fine.
Mm.
But then as I started spitting that out loud, I was like, no, this is actually some good shit. I think I need to write this down. so I did that. But like I said, just to your point, I tried not to do that because every time I make love, it's just my mind. Your mind is flowing. And like a lot of times my mind just kind of moves in poetry. And so as things are happening, I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Damn, I feel this. And then when we get done, I'm just digesting everything that just happened. But in my brain, it doesn't compute like sentences. It computes in poetry.
That's what I'm talking
C's
about.
C's gonna have them wet when we post this video, man.
Let's
At the end of the clip on Spotify, when we post this, that audio is gonna go crazy.
Yeah, the audio is gonna be wild because your voice is coming through the mic. Yeah, it's coming through really.
Somebody finna be in
the
there,
baritone is there. Baritone is there.
Yo.
All right, bro. We finna transition into heavy bars. All right. So this is a segment where we pretty much leave something, memorable for the audience to take away from this conversation. Everybody has a heavy bar, but for you, since you are a poet, we do kind of want to see if you have a poem for them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Even because you freestyle, but you don't have to freestyle if you want to do something that's new, something that's old, something that's on your heart or whatever. That we really love if that would be your heavy bar because, like you said,
we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna do ours. We're gonna give you. That's gonna be like 30, 40 seconds,
Okay.
mhm.
and then I'll spotlight. Hey, Lucas, Like, set the scene, bro.
We got another light. We got another ambiance.
Set the scene when he get on. I want you to lock in on him.
Lock in, because he got that fit on too. He got it on him.
We gonna go Dawn. Ladies first. What's your heavy bar for today?
What is my heavy bar? I'm gonna just say, man. I would say I saw something saying disconnect to connect. Okay, meaning I'm talking about these devices, disconnect from that, and then you got things like poetry books, you got your own mind, your meditation, you have God, talking to God. You disconnect to connect. It's connect with yourself, connect with a higher power or higher source, and then that's how you get to the next level. And people are kind of stuck, sometimes they're stagnant or just not forward moving because their mind isn't free. You know what I'm saying? Spirit not free. So free yourself by disconnecting to connect. That God is speaking to me. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that came from. That's heavy. That's heavy. Hey, I don't know where that came from. Go your turn.
I'm gonna say, remember, roads have turns.
Oh,
everybody want to keep going straight.
Oh man.
Right? You gotta take a left. You gotta take a right.
They can hear that.
Sometimes you might hit a cul-de-sac. You gotta turn back around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just keep driving though. Don't stop driving because you had to take a left when you wanted to go straight.
Oh my God.
That's what I took away from this. Just by observing and learning. Your first path ain't gonna always keep going that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just remember, all roads have turns.
Damn.
Wow. Dre.
You know what? But before we do that, before we get to see Lucas, you were supposed to do the last one.
Why are you?
He got away.
He always bringing Lucas.
This is how you know they making sure they paying attention.
In the class. Oh.
Lucas, what heavy bar? You come out here. Put it over here. What you got?
He over here. Yeah, Lucas. It's our guy.
What's your heavy bar?
The habits of the present will show you your future.
Oh.
Wow.
The little things that you do add up.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas.
That's heavy. Lucas not playing with y'all.
Didn't get my own mic last time.
Lucas, shout out Lucas. Hey, he came in with the pen. He said, "Yeah, I'm on it."
Bro, that was actually fire. I used to think about that all the time. Like when I was in college, that was one of my favorite lessons in life.
That boy been reading Robert Frost.
No, for real.
He ain't playing with y'all.
No, for real.
I like Lucas.
Hey, shout out Lucas.
Lucas.
I love it.
Gang. All right, bro. Caesar,
right,
you ready?
Cease, go ahead.
How you feeling?
Go ahead and close us out with a nice one, Cease.
Hold on, you feeling good? Say, I said feeling good, feeling great.
Wherever you at, man. When I say feeling good, you say feeling great. Feeling good.
Feeling great.
Feeling good.
Feeling great.
I am your healer. A heaven-sent horde of understanding. I am the foundation of love. I have been called the worrisome wordsmith, but I am just trying to pour into you. And overflow until you go into those corridors. Only those beautiful painted pictures that God awaited for you to find that long, unnecessary, unneeded anticipation. I am in those inner spaces, and I've been waiting for you, and I will until we conclude. I am just the worrisome wordsmith, and I hope this finds you, and I hope this letter reminds you that your time is worth it. Bless.
That's my fire button. Let's go. Hey, man, this is a freaking honor. You have no idea, bro. I look up to you. I really, really do. Kind of like, I study you, bro. Like, I like studying people. I do my research. And you really doing your thing out here. Like,
you doing your thing. No, you doing, let's Adonis for a second. Man, Adonis doing great. I've had people who have worked under me and said that they want to work under me. But from the time I met Adonis, she is constantly building. Every time I see Adonis, she has different plans. Every time we're tapped in on something, she is connected to somebody new. She is in constant forward motion and intentional motion, man. So I just love what you're doing, and I'm very grateful that we're connected and that you can learn from me. Like I said, anything, any capacity that I can help you move forward and doing what you're doing, I will absolutely exhaust all resources to make sure that you're good and you got what you need, man. Because everything you're doing is fantastic. I'm really, really proud of you. Like you said, you talk about you doing me. You doing me like me. I'm like, damn, I was like, who is she? This? Yeah, no, you like no, but that's the thing though. Like you just doing you so MFing well. You know what I'm saying? And just creating your ecosystem, and it's a beautiful thing. So like, just don't stop doing that. You know,
I won't. I
Yeah.
won't. I can't. Bro, this is my favorite episode already. I don't even care. I don't care, man. It's my
Hey,
favorite episode.
if you in the car, on lunch,
Yes,
wherever you
Lord.
at, make sure you turn this up. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram. Now That's Heavy podcast on
Podcast.
every platform.
Let's go.
Every-
Let's go.
We streaming. I'm Dre.
I'm down like the morning sun.
I am Black Caesar, aka the Words and Wordsmith.
Hey, man.
And you're live.
This
And
has
you're
been, this
live,
has been
baby.
real.
We live, baby.
We'll see y'all on the next one. We got a spicy one for y'all. Y'all
Oh, no,
tune
for
in.
sure. Tune
Hey,
in.
hey, see,
Tune
before
in.
we go out, show them the books.
Oh,
Show them the book one more time.
Yeah,
Talk
man.
to-
So
talk
this
to
is
him.
my first book. Lend Me Your Ears. It is available on Amazon. Y'all check it out. Do you see the brother in the back with the
That's him.
turtleneck? Okay. And this is my second book. Of this released this last March. As tensions rise, I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to put this out. Okay. And it is going to take you on a ride. It is going to give you an opportunity to see what I think about, how I move, and how I feel about society today. And I think y'all are really going to take something away from it. So you get those, man. Hopefully we can post a link right here.
Oh,
Now,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
we'll post a
It's
link
like
We're going to put
right
that right
there.
there.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
where
yeah.
can they find you at, see?
Now, follow me all social media platforms. Black Ceasar. That's Black CEASAR_. That is on Instagram. That's on TikTok. Black Caesar Poetry on Facebook. I'm getting back on Twitter, but I'm just kind of Twitter
ain't
that
It's a
vibe.
lot going on
Hey,
on
nah,
Twitter.
I
So
can't do
yeah,
Twitter.
I ain't on there, but
I
yeah,
never
but
made
Black
one.
Caesar everywhere, man. Y'all holla at me, collabs, booking, whatever you want to do, man. We making it happen everywhere for
Book
sure.
him. Book him. You already know he gonna turn y'all a whole event up.
Yeah, on
Book
God.
him.
Let's get it.
All right, y'all. Yeah,
And we
Lucas
out.
wrapping us up. We up out of here.
Peace.